gender reveal.
It's a girl.
That's fucking great.
That is good. It's a gender reveal.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh man, this is gonna be a really good episode.
My God.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited myself.
There are two people that were made to make such a piece of content.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. And none of that, but episode 100.
Episode 100.
100! 1.00.
100 episodes just yapping about.
Oh,
movies.
yapping about nothing.
I love it though. It's
Yes.
It's like, they make these movies and then they make the remakes and it's
Yeah.
like, why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that? Why bother?
And sometimes
Why mess with perfection?
Sometimes you should bother.
Yes. And in this case,
we'll find out.
we'll see.
We'll find out. On this particular episode, an ambitious and nearly insane violent gangster climbs the ladder of success, but his weaknesses prove to be his downfall. That is the most generic way I think I could describe these two films. It can only mean one thing. We're watching Scarface on this episode of Retro versus Remake.
Retro versus Remake! Ah! Welcome to Retro versus Remake, everybody. I'm Dan Farley. With me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Reggie Parker. You can find me at Dan Farley18 on Instagram or Jersey Dan18 on X. And X is a big factor.
Yeah.
It's a big factor in the original Scarface. Anyway, and Reggie, you can find him at RP Comedy on all platforms. Please like and subscribe.
Yes.
Find us at Retro vs. Remake on Instagram, on YouTube. Like, subscribe on the podcast, whatever you need. Thank you so much for joining us on our 100th episode. 100th episode.
This is gonna be
cheers to that.
Hey,
cheers.
Cheers to that.
No quit New York.
That's right.
For those of you at home, that's what my cup says, and it's the New York Rangers, and they are currently in dead last.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
The first episode of Retro vs. Remake was Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
In the Chocolate Factory.
And the Chocolate Factory.
And also,
not Charlie in
and
the
also
Chocolate Factory. And Charlie.
And Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. We watched both.
I just recently watched that too, and I was not involved in that as I was not hired onto this.
No, not at that time.
This, yes, I saw that. Sorry, we also have the NFL divisional football games on. If not that we're dating this at all, but I signed on post until A Star Is Born. That was the first one I did. So that was episode 92.
You came in on episode 68. I actually looked it up today. I knew this would come
69.
up. 69! That's right. I forgot what we did for 69, but that was...
The next one, whatever that was.
Yeah. Star Is Born, that's still one of my favorite ones, I think.
It was a good one. Yes.
There's a different approach to the show. Like we were using, like we still use most of the same format, but
we do.
Yeah.
There's a format all this time.
Kinda. It's loose.
Sorry.
It's loose. That's what we like about it.
For those of you listening, that's the sound of our. Reggie got toy guns. One's blue, one's pink, and we were joking before the show started of having these as a gender reveal party. One of them actually has a bullet in it.
Yeah,
that's pointing it at each other and be like, it's a girl. That guy's dead.
That's actually safer than most gender reveals these days.
Yes, and I'm actually having currently in the
reel.
In the reel.
Is this kayfabe?
In the reel, I'm having a child. And we had the discussion, do you want to have a gender reveal party? And the answer was, fuck no.
Yeah, of course not.
No.
Why would you do that?
And I was like, well, do you want to wait to find out like when the baby comes? And they're like, no. As soon as we possibly could, we found out. Anyway.
Wow.
So it's going to be a small boy.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah!
Yeah.
His name is Reginald Val Parker III.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that for you. I'm wanted in several states. No, just kidding. Man, Scarface.
Oh,
Scarface.
Scarface, my lord.
I think when we first talked about like you coming on the show.
Yes. This was
one
the
of the first things
episode
that came up
with
was
Scarface. Yes, that's correct.
And I think
we've been waiting, and yours was let's do that at the 100th episode.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And thank God we did,
we knew
because
we were gonna get here.
Yeah. Well, what else are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing but time on our hands and friendship,
time and opportunity.
Time
baby,
and opportunity.
friendship.
That's correct.
That's an anime.
But I'm trying not to click this as much as possible.
I know. It's a
I
it's
don't
also
want
a
to annoy
fidget-
the people at home.
It's a fidget toy.
Yeah, exactly. And because
we're usually doing it at the appropriate time.
I know.
In the conversation.
And we're in my apartment right now, so I know that you were like, oh, you can have one. So tomorrow I'll be watching football, just clicking that gun incessantly, and my girl will be like, could you shut the fuck up, please?
Yeah. Well, until she gets into it, then the next thing you know, now you're saying the same thing.
What was your first foray into Scarface?
Okay. So I don't know if this is true or not. Like you're a bit, like not much older than me, but
Very much older.
Slightly older than me. So you may remember this. I feel like there was this time where there was a drought in like the ability to get a hold of Scarface.
Yes, absolutely.
It was
a very hard DVD to get.
It was so
It did not exist.
Right. And as I was developing into a movie nerd.
Correct.
One of the things from earlier episodes, I took like some theater, movie shit, like screenwriting classes and shit like that. Like I got into movies for a little bit, so I was like, I gotta see.
It's still there.
Yeah, that's true. I was like, I gotta see Scarface because like, as a kid growing up in the '90s, you know this, hip hop was there was so much Scarface.
So much.
Scarface skits, Scarface samples, like
a rapper named Scarface.
One of my favorite rappers from Houston. Oh man, a former ghetto boy.
Yes.
But are you ever a former ghetto boy?
No.
But anyway, the point was that like in the '90s, in 2000, I was like, how the fuck do I get my hands on a copy of Scarface? And I had like a bootleg copy of Scarface.
And also let me preface this by saying that there was no way to find it. Like the internet was so primitive. Like if you could find it on eBay, like it would be like a disc, like it would be something. And most of the time it wouldn't work or something like that. And it was, you couldn't just show up somewhere and like to find it.
Yes.
It was impossible to find.
It's like folklore at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you know this awesome thing exists, but like you can't see it. And someone gave me a bootleg copy that really didn't work. So like that whole first scene with the Mario Cuba shit did not work, and then it was a disaster. But I remember getting super excited because Def Jam released a Scarface soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like music inspired by Scarface, and it was like a curated Def Jam thing. But when that came out, it signaled that Scarface was going to come out on DVD, and I finally really got to watch Scarface on the DVD release. You can look it up on the internet. Like there was whatever year that was. That was the first time I saw
like 2003.
Something like that. Exactly.
Like that,
That was the first time I really saw Scarface in full, and I was pretty happy about it. And then going further, the original Scarface. 1932 movie, I remember.
Or 33. Either one. 32.
I think it's 32.
Yeah.
We'll look it up definitively. But like, I got into being like a movie nerd a little bit, so I found out about that Scarface was a remake. I was like, holy shit. So one day I watched Scarface, the original, and I have so many thoughts about that.
Well, I thought, so mine was, I knew I was old enough, I never saw Scarface in the same vein that you did. Like, I never saw, like, I knew, and I was older, so I was like 17, 18, and people would like talk about fucking Scarface all the time, and I never saw it. And then DVDs were like, VHS were a thing of the past at that point, and everyone was looking, and you couldn't find the Scarface DVD. You could not find it. And you, no matter where you looked, I think I found it at a flea market, and it was a
That makes
bootleg.
sense.
It was a bootleg flea market, and I still have it. And I watched it for this show. I watched the bootleg one.
That's
I mean, there was no chapter skipping.
Yeah.
It was just play the movie and that's it. And it's 2.5 hours and that's it. But the whole thing of Scarface, I knew of, and they blend it in there because I knew that Scarface was Al Capone.
Right.
So I knew, like, by the time Scarface, I watched the Al Pacino version, that I knew that Scarface was Al Capone. So I knew, and then they were like, oh, then they made a movie about it, but it wasn't about Al Capone.
Right.
But it was about Al Capone.
Yes.
So they took that and ran with it with Al Pacino, and then I never saw it, but everyone talked about the ending, the ending.
That is what.
So I remember on my dial-up, like downloading, it was the ending scene in like 8 parts.
Okay.
And then like watching that, and like it was like that and like the Pamela Anderson sex video at the same time.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, and I remember I got some like downloaded some kind of movie maker or like that you could splice together like whole movies.
Yeah.
And then and I did that with the Scarface ending, and I remember watching it, be like, that is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and about how, you know,
I think you're right. Like I think you're right. I was able to watch the end of Scarface before I was able to watch Scarface. That is true. Yeah.
And it starts with like the part that I always it's one of those things that's burned in your brain, like when after Gina dies and he kills her. It's like, okay, Gina, I'm coming back, and you hear like the music start hitting, like, and then from then on, like that's the clip that I saw.
That's true. Yeah. Damn.
Okay, Gina, I'm coming back, and then he goes on his fucking warpath, but his cocaine flamed. Dude,
there's never gonna be a time like that again. Damn.
No.
There's never gonna be a time where like this thing exists.
No.
And you're not able to like access it. You know.
No, they're the closest I could come to, and is that I listen to old like radio shows. This is the closest, and I felt it today because I was doing it today of like old like Patrice O'Neill and Opie and Anthony and stuff like that, and I'll listen to them like their podcast, but you have to find them and you have to download them.
Right.
And you have to find, you have to find a server that will convert them on such a large scale, and it's actually like a little bit of work.
Yeah.
And you actually have to do it, and if you're not doing anything during the day, like whatever, that's fine.
Right.
But that's the closest I felt like to like that time. Like even now that I have to like find this, like I was doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to and then like upload it into my iTunes and put it on my phone, and
I'm actually currently doing that for like this one Japanese like anime that I like from like back in the day. It used to be called like the Science Ninja Team or like G-Force. I don't know if you remember that shit. But anyway, the Internet Archive has like a bunch of episodes in Japanese. I'm like, ooh, I want that, but like I have to download them all individually. So I've been churning through that for a couple weeks, but like not like.
But that's like there are outlets, but in
sporadically.
Yeah, sporadically. Like it's not. I don't do that all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that type of shit. But when that happened, like that was kind of a thing, and people specifically held it back from being released on DVD. Scarface.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to make a big payday on like and I was one of the people that bought it, like with the silver cover.
I think yes,
that half silver cover,
the sleeve. Woo.
Yeah.
That silver and like black.
Yeah, so silver and black, and I remember going to Best Buy and buying that and all that.
I was there day one. I was
day
like,
one, yeah, exactly, day one.
I'll take my copy of Scarface.
Oh, the towers just crashed. Oh. Whatever. I'm watching Scarface tonight.
Yeah.
That being said, but I was like amped, and as a young man, I was enthralled.
Yeah.
I was enthralled with the whole thing. I was like, oh man, and that's I can't imagine being and there's a huge reference to that in one of our favorite movies, Paid in Full, which we've discussed making that into one of the Retroverse remakes because it's the Black Goodfellas.
Still might.
Like it was still might.
Yeah.
But it's the Black Goodfellas. Like
I think
Like,
that's
but
a
he has
argument.
we could definitely make the argument, and I would make the argument just so we could do the movies,
Yeah.
just so we could do Goodfellas and Paid in Full.
I'll just do that
In
next.
Yeah. But they
No rules. Episode 1.
no, we did 100.
Yeah.
It's like the Seinfeld 100 episode.
Exactly.
Like, you're syndicated now, son. You're good.
Nah, I'm gonna make the argument right now, which is why we're gonna do it next. Goodfellas is a semi-biographical film about like
Henry Hill.
Yes, Henry Hill and like that gangster shit that happened in his time period. And Paid in Full is a semi-biographical film about Alpo and his crew.
Yeah.
So it's like two organized crime families that are portrayed on film. So
I had another idea that we'll discuss.
okay,
We'll discuss on camera after, like at the end of the.
okay, cool.
But that being said, I'm down. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's not even a question. But that being said, the fucking when it comes to like Scarface, like that in that movie,
Yeah.
Paid in Full, he's watching Scarface and
Yes.
seeing like like ignoring the ending. The same thing like
Yeah.
most people do with Goodfellas, like ignore the ending of the movie of like, oh, like this is not like
Right.
how to.
Yeah.
This is a morality tale of like, oh, this is not a good thing to
Yes.
do, to get involved in. Because you will. I mean, how many, they discuss it in so many genres, including like The Sopranos and Godfather. Like, most people don't live to see their old age, not outside of a cage.
Yeah.
And then, or don't live to see their old age. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but the fact that it took it by storm, there's a whole scene of like them in the movie theater, like, oh!
Yeah, right. Like that, like referential, like the fact that in that moment in time, that's exactly what those guys would be doing.
Yeah.
They'd be like watching Scarface, like geeking out because like this is awesome.
Yeah.
We actually have a copy of Scarface.
Yes.
You know, like, because like those are the types of guys that would have a copy of Scarface.
Yeah, well, they were watching the movie theater.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
in that movie.
That is true.
But
yeah, that was like because that was a morality tale as well. That was being used as a film device.
yeah.
It's pretty good though.
It was, but at the same time, like, but you get influenced by like that movie. If you dead yourself to like all the things that he dies. I mean,
Yeah.
like he dies
Yes.
childless. He dies friendless. He dies
It's all
with loveless. He dies without a family. He dies with nothing. He dies with nothing. And
but he's still seen as an aspirational figure.
yes, exactly. And you're like, why?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Like, it's again like 1,000 people missing the point of the movie.
Yes,
Like, it's,
which is
like,
why so
that's
many
not-
college kids have that poster.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like, oh, this guy saw it and he took it. No,
No.
you're missing the point of it. Is that he was like that, and the longer you live, it was like that's not everything.
Yes.
But it was like, oh, that's everything.
And yeah, and just like never had control of it.
Never.
There was not one point where he was
Well, very briefly in the
What do you think? Takeover?
no, when they're showing like the no, why am I blanking on the word? The when it's them like taking the money into the bank. And
Oh yeah. That's a great.
And then like he's on the phone with Sollozzo.
You know,
Sosa, I'm sorry, Sosa.
you know what's interesting about both films? Kind of talk about like the Alpo and the Goodfellas thing too. Like, if you watch like, we'll make sure I got the year right because I was just throwing years out for.
I think
Yeah,
it's
Scarface, 1932. So in the 32 film, like that shit was like happening.
Yes.
You know, like
correct.
like when you were watching that theater, you're
That
like,
is
yo, that's the
actually
stuff
happening.
that just happened.
Like Al Capone watched that and was
Yeah.
like, I did that.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Then again, but so was Goodfellas.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
You know the point.
Yeah.
Exactly. That like that time period being captured in film and like taking it in as art form, but also recognizing like, yo, this is shit that's going down.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Like, and the like prohibition era of shit, just like, oh man, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a big problem that most people don't realize. And
Right.
you know what? There's a level of like how Scarface is structured, and it kind of is done pretty cleverly by Oliver Stone. Because most people don't realize that Oliver Stone wrote this movie. Right. It's also probably this has got to be De Palma's most famous film.
Oh yeah.
Like as far as the streets go.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like no one's watching fucking Blowout. Like I love Blowout, but Jesus.
Fucking sports.
But like,
sorry, gang.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, you're talking about Palma.
Broken. But yeah, like guy, Harlem is not watching Blowout.
Yeah,
you know, like, they don't give a fuck. But they are watching Scarface.
That's
you know,
true.
like
that's true.
I don't. There's something to be said too of like sculpting it around the American dream of like, but a misguided American dream.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like.
Right. It's I don't know which one it'd be, like the id, the ego, one of them. But like, if we didn't regulate ourselves, like that's like that. Yeah. So like when people misinterpret Scarface, it is the people who are like missing it. Like, no, you need the moral shit.
Yeah.
You can't just act like that.
You can't be
that's
immoral person like living like that.
That's ridiculous behavior, especially sort of like the humanity that's lost with the sister character anyway. Like in the film, they're like when he basically like turns on his sister, that's like the last piece of his humanity. That was like the only thing tethering him to like the real world, and he fucked that up. You know, it's. No, I mean,
but also there's some level of in the 1980. What year was it?
83?
83.
Yeah,
because I know it takes place in 1980, but 83. Like, how much of a tie to humanity does he have? Like, he's Manny, but then his mother, who wants nothing to do with
his mother's already
nothing to do with like, I don't want you in this house anymore, Tony. So it's her and then Manny, and like, I never understood. I'll just cover this now.
Yeah,
never understood like why kill Manolo. Like it doesn't.
I will say,
I don't get it.
The only reason that you can't really justify killing Manolo. Obviously, it's like terrible.
You know, if your sister was someone,
he does. It doesn't happen in 32, but it happens in 83. He does warn Manolo. It's unreasonable. So like, there's like it's like void that contract. It's invalid. But like in the early scene, because De Palma does do. When we talk about these films, I think De Palma does the foreshadowing really well. In a lot of ways, like he frames scenes up, like because like rewatching it, you get to appreciate so much of what you know is gonna happen in these like scenes, and when they're in the car, like when he first sees Gina. And Manolo's like, oh, why didn't you tell me you had a sister? She's beautiful, man. You know, like, Tony's like, hey, not for you. Like that's just not going. So, like, there's an argument, a very flawed argument. There's an argument like, well, Manolo did know Tony didn't want him fucking with his sister.
Yeah, but there's also, the same literary, not to get all literature student on you, on anyone, but the fact of him being in the shower watching the guy get dismembered with a chainsaw.
Yes.
It's like they're cutting, like to be in this business, you're cutting limb off limb of Tony, of limb, of like, another leg, huh? Like, so it's like Manolo, his mom, Gina, like even
That's true.
Like his mom wants nothing to do with him. Like she's written him off. And at first the first thing you see him do is kill a communist. So it's his fellow countrymen.
Right.
So it's like, I have no country now. And so I'm in this country. I'm not American, though. But I have no ties to a government. I was in the everything that fucked me over. Then no boss.
Right.
Just kills Frank.
Right.
He has no ties to anything. Like everything that like structurally.
Yeah, no, he's continuously like pushing the boundary. Like everything he does is like over the line, and people are constantly like, you are over the line. He's like, I know and I don't care. Yeah. Because he's like, if I go over the line, that's how I get what I want.
That's right.
And like you get that in both films. Like it's just, I think 83, and we'll talk about it for both actors. Maybe I'll just frame this up. So the limb from limb thing, I'm right there with you. Like, I think both films are able to pull off, for different reasons, for very similar reasons, but like 83, I think gives him a more clear cut and like of the times reason to go off the rails. That like I feel like
But cocaine?
yes,
Yes.
versus like 32 was more just his general rage. You know what I mean? Like just like his
Yeah, I just think he didn't
inability to
care.
cope. Yeah,
Like it
right.
was like there's a level of the time
Yes.
of 1933 of like what? Like listen, I'm 28 years old. Best case scenario, I get to 52.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It was about,
What's-
Which is almost about a little bit longer than Al Capone actually.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Al Capone, and who died of syphilis. Who, like, what? There's no, I don't know, man. Like, there's,
Yeah.
like, if you have that, like, I might as well be rich for most of it. Like,
Yeah.
You know, like, there is something, whenever you read, like, a lot of, like, nonfiction stuff, like, dude, life, because it's so short, is cheap back then.
Yeah. Well,
And I'm not discrediting people that died young,
no, not at all.
but it's just,
Well,
people didn't think in those terms. Like, no, we're talking immediate.
well, I think the 83 film, that's Tony's superpower, is that, like, he's so disillusioned, you know, that, like,
Yes.
Cuba was so crazy, right? It's like, I'm in the army, I'm fighting communists, I'm like an actual political prisoner. They're like, the general, like, lack and leisure of America, he was like, oh my God, if you just, like, use your brain, because he sees the land of opportunity.
Yeah.
Like you said, the American dream. And he's just like, dude, it's right there. This town is a great big chicken waiting to get plucked.
I was just going to say, to quote
the TBS edit of Scarface.
Yes.
But like that's what's so. I mean, both Scarfaces have that theme, but like the 83 just it captures so perfectly with him being like. I mean, they're both immigrants, but like you know what I mean of that time and how they expand on the story, like in his complex of like not wanting to be quote unquote like a peasant, basically.
Yeah.
You know, both of them.
I refuse.
You know, like I am not. You cannot define me.
That's
like
correct.
I'm not like that's why he's calling everyone cockroaches and worms and shit because it's like. This is what you're trying to call me, but I'm the only one that can even see the plate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like
That's right.
You guys are all like thinking small time. Like I figured this out in 20 seconds.
Yes.
And all I need is like
a gun.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, and you will all learn who the problem is.
Which is why Scarface is so aspirational for people when they hang the poster.
Yeah, exactly.
but like it, like to go there, you have to be devoid of morals. Is why you can't hang the poster.
Yeah, like it's definitely a young man's movie.
Yes, it
Am
is.
I right?
It is like a burn
when
the
you
world
watch
down.
it, like you're like, oh, this is great. And then I watch it, it's like it fucking stinks. Like it stinks. Like if I watch it now, like I can't.
Well, the lack of self control is like,
Yeah.
dude, you gotta like
Get it together, man.
You could do this when you were small time, and now you're big time.
Exactly. Like all these things he's doing. Like, why are you even bothering taking that risk?
Yeah.
Like you're this kingpin, and you're driving this guy around with car bombs.
I know. It's like
You're driving the bell guy from Breaking Bad around.
Which, you know, talking about that kind of peasant mentality, which does actually kind of lend to that, like, you never got out of being the workhorse.
Yeah,
in his business.
exactly.
Which is why Tony was never able to,
Which is true. That's something true of, like, that's a reflection of the American dream.
Yes.
It's like, you are never not.
Yes.
Like, what made you.
Mm-hmm. At some point, what made you is a detriment, and you need to transition into whatever the next phase
no
is.
matter how many millions of dollars you have, it's like, hey, you're still that guy.
But,
you know,
why that would never work for the Scarface in either film, Jesus, they gotta stop showing these.
yeah.
Shit.
Ow.
Oh my God. Why that would never work, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, guys.
People are getting messed up in the NFL right now. But like, why that would never work for the Scarface in either of these movies is because they're addicted to the game.
There's something to this whole thing. It's like, it's not And we see it constantly. We see it and I was doing a lot of research on, not necessarily for this, I was just reading in general.
Sure.
On the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and
Who killed it?
yes, and the Vanderbilts,
Yep.
things like that. And the level, and you could tie it right back into the same level of sickness that you see in The Last Dance with about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
There's a level of mental illness
Sure.
that no amount of money will ever fill. It doesn't matter.
No.
Money is just a sign of you winning.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter. Like either one of them, like I don't know. There's a level to the original 33 Scarface that like yes, he's a psychopath and and he wants power. Yes.
Sure.
But there's a level of he's not fleshed out enough. As far as like the writing isn't as as mature as it possibly could be with Scarface in '83.
Well, let me talk about the films, and we'll be able to just like freely discuss all this.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that was a long.
No, but this was fun. I like because again we both have a lot of thoughts and opinions about these films that we've shared with each other over the years, and I'm actually really interested to hear like your thoughts about. Now that we're actually talking about the original, which we normally don't, so this will be fun. The original Scarface is a 1932 film, also known as Scarface, the Shame of the Nation.
Shame of the Nation.
Yeah, which is not what anyone actually called it.
Which is the one I want on my tombstone, everybody.
Directed by Howard Hawks, the screenplay was by W.R. Burnett, who I think wrote the book that this was about.
Yeah, there's a book.
Yes.
And the book, spoiler alert, it's about Al Capone.
It's about Al Capone, for sure. Screenplay by W.R. Burnett, John Lee Mahan, Seton I. Miller, and Ben Hecht is the guy, actually. Ben Hecht wrote the original Scarface novel. It was produced by Howard Hughes, which is dope.
Howard Hughes, the aviator himself. Pew pew!
Starring Paul Mooney.
Paul Mooney,
yeah, thanks, sorry. Paul Mooney, who was...
I wasn't correcting you, I was just not to be confused with the Chappelle show.
Not the Negro Damas?
Not Negro Damas. No,
Yeah.
Paul Mooney.
Paul Mooney, who's amazing in this. Quick spoilers. Ann Dorvik, Osgo Perkins, Karen Morley, George Raff, and Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff,
Always
also known as Frankenstein.
Absolutely.
And he's doing all those gags with the phone. It's Frankenstein.
Shit,
Yeah.
yeah. Shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The remake, which I think for a lot of people will probably be surprised, this is a remake. I think
Yes.
most
people don't realize.
don't know
it's a
that.
remake.
But,
It's a remake in name, name and structure.
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 A lot of the structure. You can't say everything. And like I think what's great is they're both adaptations. So like I don't want to say too much just yet because I have so many opinions. Scarface, the remake from 1983, which was directed by Brian De Palma. The screenplay was by Oliver Stone, as Dan mentioned earlier, based on the novel that we talked about by W.R. Burnett. Starring Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer, Stephen Bauer, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantino.
Mastrantino?
Yeah. Mastrantonio.
Sorry.
I saw all the words. I was like,
She had a moment.
She did have.
She had a moment where she was in The Color of Money. She was in Scarface, Color of Money, and then Robin Hood. And that's it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
run.
that's a pretty good run. But I was like, what happened? I don't understand. Gorgeous. Anyway, that being said, continue.
Yeah, Mark Margulis, Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia.
And Paul Shinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Who killed Amadeus.
Let me tell you something. There's two actors that we'll have to bring up fairly early. One of them is going to be Paul Mooney,
Yes.
who plays Antonio Camonte.
Gang boss. This is the story of Scarface Tony Camonte, his lust for power, for fancy women.
Don't work too hard.
I just finish up tonight. Now I play a while.
Yes.
and we're of course going to talk about Al Pacino,
Yes.
who played Tony Montana.
¿Cómo se llama?
Antonio Montana. And you? What you call yourself?
Where'd you learn to speak the English, Tony?
In a school. And my father, he was from the United States. Yeah, just like you know. He was a Yankee.
Actually, this is like when people talk about Al Pacino, this is just my theory.
Mm-hmm.
This is the precipice. This is the line.
Yeah.
When it goes from I don't know what it is to I'm killing it like that. This is the movie. This is a demarcation. This is it. This is. She's got a great ass.
Things we can't never talk about
Like,
business.
Never. Come on, son. Son.
I will tell you something, man. What's so cool about the 1932 film is that what we were talking about earlier. If you were watching this, it was like ripped from the headlines.
Yes,
stuff.
correct.
Like there's so many because that movie is specifically, but not directly named, is absolutely about Al Capone.
Al Capone.
That's
100%.
They barely change people's names, in the film. Like it is 100% about Al Capone, who was also known as Scarface in his day, a nickname he hated apparently.
Yes.
And
he had another nickname. I can't remember. I'm forgetting what it
he
is.
had some like crazy.
He had.
names, like
I can't
Scooby or
remember.
some shit.
It's.
Because he was like a shop dresser. Also, who's the actor that plays him in Boardwalk Empire? That is that is some of the best stuff I've ever seen.
Snorky. Snorky was
yeah.
the one.
Snorky.
The one that
Great
I was
nickname.
thinking of. Snorky is the Al Capone dude. It was the guy from Snatch. Snatch and Band of Brothers. I'll look it up.
Okay.
I'm looking it up. So
That's
you don't
great.
lose your place.
Oh yeah, I mean, my place. Well, while you're looking that up, because there are two amazing Al Capone performances that I've seen. Well, maybe three.
Okay.
Because we also have the Untouchables, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the definitive.
That is
definitive.
a Al Capone enthusiasm.
The enthusiasm.
Baseball.
bat?
Yeah.
Like even the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yes, is featured in this film.
And it's literally set up exactly the way it was set up.
Yep. So like, how cool is that? And like in a time where, like nobody had like a TV. You weren't just gonna like look at the news and see what's going on. Like you're sitting in the theater. You've paid like whatever your nickel or whatever the fuck, and you like can't even imagine moving pictures. And you're watching something you read about. You're like,
Not only that, but the sound came in.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Like, it's like 1930, I think they came in.
Mm-hmm.
So they had, there were three good sounds.
Because this was still in the, this before the talkie era. This was like.
Yes, this was one of the talkies.
This
was one of the
was
first
early,
talkies.
Wow. Good point.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, which I watched, like, thinking about, like, how much gunshots were going on. Like, the fact of, like, how they...
How freaked out would you be watching, like, a movie for the first time? Like, at least, like, when we were coming up, like, you had television, so you're like, okay, I understand screens.
Yeah.
Like, you're just sitting there, like, I heard about this thing called a fucking movie.
Yes, exactly.
Al Capone sitting over there going, bang, bang, bang. That's crazy, dude.
But, like, the way they did it, I don't know, man. Like, it's... Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a long-winded way of saying that, like, Paul Mooney's interpretation of Al Capone is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but just, like, how much fun they had with, like, the sound of gunshots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he did not fuck around.
By the way, I have to say this. There are so many really interesting and, like, especially, like, giving them, like, the bump for being the period they're in. There's so many good shots in that movie.
Oh, my God, yes. And then
when they're in the bowling alley and like they're gunning the guys down, and you see the ball going down the alley, hits the pins, and there's one that's still spinning, and then it goes down as you hear the last of the Tommy gun bullets. And I'm like, this is amazing. Dude.
And then they do the same thing that The Departed did. The Departed like homaged it.
Yeah.
With the X. Every time someone's gonna die, there's an X in the there's a blocked out window. Or there's like even at the end, like when he's going to the hospital, he's going like room to room, and then he goes.
Brutal.
And then his leg is up, and like in the background you see an X.
That's so cool, man.
Like, it's really and like they used to make them. They used to make them. They used to make
film.
They used to make film.
Kind of reminds me of our 12 Angry Men episode, you know? Like, it just...
See, that's also like my qualm with Scarface the 83, is that they're kind of trying to do that, but they're also not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so...
They're also like, hey, look at the Pelicans.
The problem with 83 is when they do that, because there are scenes and, like, you have to be bought in. That's like, again, you have to, like, hang the poster to think every scene they think is good is good.
Yes.
Like, there are scenes where, like, Al Pacino will be doing, like, a monologue and they're, like, zooming in on him and shit. And you know, like, oh, they think he's spitting right here. And it'll be nonsense. Like, most of them work. Like, I'm not lying. There's, like, all these...
Listen, Al Pacino is not bad in that movie.
No.
There's one scene, specifically, in that entire movie that... I don't know whose idea it was. Okay. But it's so good. Okay. Is that when Sosa kills the dude. Yeah. He has Tony, and before he kills, what's his name? What's his name? Why am I blanking? The guy that killed Amadeus. The guy that is a piece of...
Oh, yeah.
That had his friend Angel Fernandez killed! But that's history, man.
That's history.
But he's sitting at the table, and he has the glass, and the glass has a lemon in it, and it's a hand wash glass, and he pulls it out and eats the lemon. So because the citrus is supposed to kill the germs in your hand, you're supposed to wash your hands in the glass. But it shows right there how much of a
Omar Suarez.
Yes, Omar.
F. Murray Abraham.
Yes, F. Murray.
He's a great actor.
Yes, he is.
One of the greatest character actors that ever lived.
But when Al Pacino is sitting there, he fumbles into the glass for the lemon. Yeah. Not knowing that it's, like, I don't know whose decision that was. Right. But him reaching in the glass, pulling out the lemon and shaking it off and eating it. Yeah. And, because that's, like, just to wash your hands. Like, that's something most of the sports fans at home don't know.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
That was the reason why they give you water with lemon at the diner. That was to wash your hands because the citrus kills the germs. Yes. But you just drink it. But he was such a peasant that he didn't know that was what it was for. Right. Meanwhile, he's in this millionaire's thing, and he definitely noticed. I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that whole thing.
That's actually. Yeah,
but it's so subtle. Like it's like, oh, that's one of the only subtle things in the entire movie.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
That he picks it up and he's just like, he eats it. He's like, oh, I'm just going to eat this.
Yeah, because 83 is splashy. It's in your face, you know? Like, the illusions and everything they go for, they're still there, but, like, it hits you over the head. Yeah. A lot more.
But with okay, let's talk about the original for now.
Okay, sure.
This is...
1932.
The 1933, right?
Two.
Two?
Yep.
Okay.
1932, yep.
1932. This is all going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the best things that I thought in this movie that I saw was the Tommy gun. Like when he realizes, wait a minute.
That is such a great turning point.
Because there was this thing I just read about the Tommy gun, is that the creator, Thompson, rushed it into production for World War I. Sure. And then he finished it, and World War I ended. And he was like, I have 80,000 of these. Like, what do I do? And he ended up selling it to basically anyone that wanted to buy it.
Right.
And the mob thought it was like a great thing, and the police were like outmatched. They were like, yo, we can't beat them. Like, they can afford Tommy guns.
Right.
And so, like, that scene when, like, just them clearing, like, them doing a drive-by.
Right.
100% a drive-by.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, drive-bys, what is this? It's been happening
Forever,
since 1933. But his,
I
like,
was
hey,
Crossfire.
that's
I
a
did drive-by once.
Really?
Oh yeah, not great. Not great, my friend. But that was a different time when I lived in the DMV, as the kids call it. So I didn't mean to derail the conversation, but that is a thing that happened.
Well, you could tell the story.
Well, yeah, fucking up DJ was there, so if you ever need someone to verify the story, we were hanging out, I want to say, I can't remember what part of Maryland it was. It doesn't really matter. It was like a friend of mine's cousin's graduation, barbecue, whatever. His cousin was in the gang. Something happened the night before, so something was going to happen that night. And ping, ping, boom, you know? And like, I felt like Nino Brown.
Hold the kid up.
Yeah, I was like,
Hold the kid
not
up.
me, bro.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough. But like, anyway, what I'm saying is they're effective.
Yes, they
They're
are.
really good.
They are effective.
Especially if you have a Tommy gun and everyone else has.
But then he was saying, like, hey, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what the mob did. That they were like, and that there are a couple things in that movie that were so, like, profound.
When Paul, yes, very profound. But the look on Paul Mooney's face, like, that's where I felt like the movie, he just went into this, like, crazed mode, started. When he got the Tommy gun, he never looked back. He was done, dude.
He's like, I'm good.
He was...
It's like, hey, look, you cradle it like a baby.
Yeah.
It's a machine gun.
To the point that, like, he's in the middle of a gunfight, and he's, like, so distracted and amazed that there's a Tommy gun that, like, he doesn't even really care that he's getting shot at.
No.
You know, he's like, this is information. This is amazing. And he was like, dude, similar to Tony Montana, like we were saying with the Pacino Scarface. He's like, okay, if you're going to give me this, well, there's no way I'm not going to, like, run this entire town. Like,
Exactly.
I have a machine gun. They
With
don't.
a rocket launcher.
Yeah, like, so even...
Grenade launcher, I'm sorry.
That's true. And you know what's interesting, too? The way everything... So, like, both movies are based on a book about Al Capone.
Yes.
Neither movie really even gave a fuck that book existed. They were just like, all right, we'll just pretend.
I don't know. The first one kind of does.
Yeah, but it's actually not as, like... Yes, it is. It is.
Like, that's exactly
more-
how the St. Valentine's Day Massacre goes down. That's exactly how.
No, that's true. That, like, the book apparently isn't, like, super close to the movie, but, like, yeah, you're right. It is much closer. So you're 100% right about that. But, like, I just felt like it was two movies that were like, I want to do Al Capone, and this is, like, a way to do it.
Yeah.
And 83...
It's a modern Al Capone that they were trying to do. And
Which is the best thing about the 83 film. Is, like, using that Miami backdrop. Like,
yeah.
It's different. Like, it's
there's also not, though. Like, it's the grisliness that makes Al Capone, like, I don't know. But they don't have, like, as far as Scarface goes, it's cool to see them upgrade it.
Yeah.
Like, with that, but there's something gritty about growing up in New York the way
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like...
Like, yeah, you're an immigrant, but you grew up in New York. Like...
Here's what's... I think kind of what I'm saying about these characters is that they're just so matter of fact about how obvious it is. Like, for these characters who had nothing growing up, and like you said, that gritty thing in New York, like, this dude just existed, saw the way the world worked, and not like the ideal of the world, like the American dream that we're talking about, like the white picket fence and everything like that. They were like, okay, we know that's a lie they sell people. The real American dream is just getting this fucking money, and like these two characters that just looked at it and said,
"Got it,
okay,
got it,
cool. I don't have time to like school. That's stupid. That's what they are peasants that they will not accept their stars.
Yeah.
I need more. I am more. And like,
see, this is my big qualm.
Yeah.
With the 83 version.
Okay.
With Al Pacino, like that. The only reason why he had the downfall is because he has a morality of like he won't kill kids.
Yeah. But
and he's like, what? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, no.
The other 83 problem, and it actually works, but it also kills the movie, which is why I think like that last act, that third act is tough. It's tough in that movie.
Until the end.
Until the end, yeah, exactly, 100%.
Until the end, it might be the best movie ever. At the end.
I think the movie, if it was 20 or 30 minutes shorter, it'd be fucking amazing.
But with the end.
Yes,
like if
but
you
with
cut,
the end.
if you cut out that, you cut out that third act.
You don't really get much from the political, like, or whatever. Like
the UN.
The UN, like, it's not really. The movie works without it.
Yeah, it completely works without it.
Like, you don't really need that part.
You definitely don't need it, but at the same time, it's like, now you're drawing a line in the sand?
Yeah.
Like, now
right, especially, for the character.
It doesn't make any sense.
Like, that, I agree. That's also
like, that's why the 33, and when I first saw it, then, and keep in mind, customers, that it was recently, and I saw it, I was like, man, like, he is the same the whole way through.
Yes. That is what is perfect about Paul Mooney's portrayal. So, Paul Mooney...
and it doesn't flinch. Like, the whole movie doesn't flinch at all. The only thing I don't like, and since we're talking about the ending, I guess,
Sure.
We could talk about the ending. The ending in the 33 version is insane. As far as like at the time goes, like first of all, I love the aspect of like the sister showing up and being like, I can't fucking kill you. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna help you kill these cops.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. It's so fun now.
Like, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Like, if I were with my brothers, I don't know if I'm gonna fight the cops with them.
Yeah.
But if there's people coming at him. Like, no matter how mad I am.
Especially because she feels... Because she was mad, but she was like, I should have known better than to bring this heat on you.
Yes.
Because she feels responsible for the heat.
I mean, granted, total detriment of women, and, like, no. How dare she have a thought? But...
yeah. Hold on, we have to bring that up. In the 1932 film, Tony Camonte's sister...
yes. Tony's sister.
Yep, Tony's sister is Ann Dwarvik, who plays Cheska or Francesca.
Yeah.
Why are you always high-hatting me?
Go on, beat it.
I suppose you need an organ grinder to work with.
Tony's inside. He see you in that outfit?
I look pretty good from 2 stories up.
Cheska.
Yeah, she's great, by the way. She's really good.
She is very good. And then, like, sitting there with the gun, like, all right, Tony, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, all right, man. Like, you guys are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which comes up for, damn, this is a game. In 1983, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio played Gina.
Do all over the fucking place. Do you understand?
Yeah, go ahead. Do it now. I want to see it. I want to see it now, big shot.
Don't push me.
Who is the Cheska equivalent? But, like, let's talk about Cheska. Cheska's amazing, right? Like, the mom stuff that we see in the original film. Like, Tony in the original film, I think, he definitely has a closer relationship to his mother.
Yeah,
than in 83. You know, it's the same relationship, but, like, he is...
But, like, the whole thing is, in the 33, is it 32 or 33?
32.
32. Okay.
That's okay.
So it's 32 and 83. Okay. So 32.
Yep.
She says to him that the only reason for her to be there is to tell her about Cheska.
Yeah.
Tell him about Cheska and
Right.
like get going away with this guy.
Yeah, the mom.
And then he kills the dude.
Right.
Angelo. I think it's Angelo.
Yeah.
But like that's really the only reason, other than like, hey Ma, we're gonna make good. But he doesn't give a fuck about his mother in either case.
No, he doesn't care at all, actually. Like I think in the case of the 32 film, I think he has more of a connection to his mother, like this sense of being like a patriarch, sort of, and like the leader of his family as well as like, well, like him being like the leader of his family and.
He's the patriarch.
Yeah, he's the patriarch.
I think it's her.
Yeah, like I just think that he's more obligated to them in the 32 film. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that.
you know,
Yeah.
I
I don't know. I think the mother, like, in 32, she didn't despise her son. She didn't like what he was doing.
No.
But she despises him in 83. Like,
Yeah.
She wants nothing to do with him.
Well, I think here's how I feel about the mother in 32. She doesn't despise her son, but she knows her son. And she's like, hey, Cheska, actually. Cheska, listen. I know you think he's like, super cool. I know you think he's like your friend, but he's not your friend.
No.
Right? So, like, she doesn't, to your point, yeah, she does not have, at least it's not overt, an issue with what Tony's doing. But she knows what he is.
Yeah, she does. Correct.
Like,
I think she does.
She does have
an issue.
But, like, okay, maybe, like, what you're saying is, like, how much Tony's despised in 83.
Yeah, like, there's
Like,
a Catholic level of guilt.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost, like, we discussed that off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how the Frankie, like, Paul Mooney is Jewish.
Right. Yeah.
And he plays an Italian. And she's almost playing it like a Jewish mother. Whereas, like, an Italian mother, it's like, oh, I don't know if she would be that comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
even
with her son's soul burning for all eternity.
Yeah. Even, like, I think she'd probably work around it more than, like, acknowledge it. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I think
or justify it on some level. Like the way Al Capone did it was like he would give so much money to charity and to like justify like
or
like soup kitchens and shit. Like,
or you find like another villain, right? Like where like you'll see in some films and like just life where you're like, oh, these cops are always harassing us when there's like so many other things they could be doing. You know, like yeah, even though you're doing organized.
not for
crime.
me. I mean, I'm white.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the cops are doing a fantastic job. Oh my god.
Why do you bring it out?
Don't worry about it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, but I absolutely love how much more we get from the sister relationship in the original movie.
Yes. I like it so much more.
It's
so much more.
Even to the point like you were talking about the end, her
Like
being in a shootout.
Yeah, at the end of listen, man. I understand like I understand like the hatred of like siblings and stuff like that. But like I'm not gonna if the cops are with that, like I'm not gonna turn them in. Like that's not gonna happen. And I'm not gonna turn on them or whatever.
Okay.
Or if someone's attacking my siblings, even if I'm pissed at them.
Yes.
It's almost like that level of no, I'm gonna kill them.
Yes.
Like you know what I mean?
Well, here's why, and I think like as a person with siblings too, that I'm having the same reaction that you're having. the reason why and what this movie actually portrays is that like we're the same.
Yeah.
We're the same. Like I hate what you do this, and you hate that I do that. But like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we're the same fucking thing. You know, and like Francesca, like as much as they're fighting, and like Tony's so mad at her. Tony's mad because he sees himself, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're doing the shit. Like this is my problem.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're the one that shouldn't be this messed up.
Yeah.
You know."
Hi, buddy.
Although, like, with the mom being so upset about it, and like how that's all framed in '83, it's actually pretty bad because like Tony's coming back to life actually like ruins everything.
Yeah.
Because she was like on the pathway.
I guess.
Well, she was like, I'm at beauty school. She was doing this and that. Like, I don't know. Like, well, she certainly wouldn't have had her husband murdered by her brother, and then like, you know,
That's
got
true.
shot. You know,
Yeah.
Like, she might not have like.
Well, yeah, he corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing.
Well, yeah, that is it. They're like anything that he touches.
That's also like there's a level of like her too that.
Oh, because
Listen.
they're the same person.
But I'm saying in '83, in 33, in 32.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
fair.
they're the same person.
That's
They come from the same place, but they come from the same place in '83.
Yeah.
Like so, you could say what you want. Like, oh yeah, she's doing the daughter thing of taking care of her mother, but is she?
You know what's so interesting?
She wants to get the fuck out of there too.
You know what's so interesting?
And as soon as she sees an opportunity, she does.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what?
I don't even think that's on Tony. That's on her. Because if it wasn't Tony, it would be some other fucking asshole.
I agree. What's so interesting about '83 though is because of her just general vibe. Like I actually think the 32 Cheska is better. Like she's actually more independent.
Yes.
Right?
I
Because
agree.
like she rejects Tony early.
She's more independent and less independent at the same time.
Well, yeah. Like ultimately, it does all come back. To
Yeah.
him, you know?
But she goes to the office and seduces the dude. You know what I mean? Like, whatever his name is. I don't remember his name is.
Gina's so like square at the beginning of the movie in '83.
Exactly.
Like she doesn't know what's going on. She's like the only person that doesn't know what's going on. And Cheska is aware of everything.
She's
it's like, why are you excluding me from my birthright?
That's
is no difference between me and you. Like, get out of my tongue.
Exactly.
Please, tell me. Don't pretend like I'm your kid's sister.
It's quite a feminist movie, man.
It is in
a little bit
ways.
of a feminist movie that like more than you think. Like at the end, who's next to him?
When she's so jazzed that they're in a shootout, she's like, you know what? You're right. It's me and you, kid. It's me
and
and you.
then throws him the gun.
She's like, they'll never take us alive, Tony. Like she was throwing him ammo. And when he throws her the gun.
Yeah.
Follow me. It's my fault. I shouldn't have come.
What's the difference? Your fault, my fault. Just so she's here, that's all what matters.
I'm not afraid. I'm like you, Tommy.
That's the way to talk. You're not afraid, huh? Come on, which door?
He's like, hey, sport, here's your pistol, you know?
In comparison
to
the... What's going on here? Like the sexual...
Oh, the incest thing? Well,
you want to fuck me, Tony?
What's funny is the incest is actually more, like... Funny enough, like, that relationship is more obvious in the original, but it's so... This is where De Palma loses me sometimes. It's such a product of its time that, like, it will hit you over the head so hard sometimes.
Yeah. It's kind of like an after-school special, a little bit. Like it is, like, a heavy-duty after-school special.
Yeah, this is a little janky.
Anyway. But what I'm saying is that, like, Gina, like...
Yeah.
There's a chemistry to, like, to Cheska and his boy in the first one that I'm like, hey, man, that guy, I don't see that guy getting that many girls. You know what I mean? Like that he's like, okay, I'll get down with you, and then that ends up getting him killed. But like Gina, I don't know. Like
in 32, you're talking about George Raft, who played
yes,
Guino, little boy Ronaldo.
Why are you always high-hatting me?
Go on, beat it.
I suppose you need an organ grinder to work with.
Tony's inside. He see you in that outfit?
You know, there's some illusions that he, gets the ladies, like he has that one chick in his apartment.
yeah,
One scene, but it's not nearly as extreme as Stephen Bauer's Manny Rivera.
How do you know?
The eyes, Chico. They never lie.
Man, that's the boss's lady.
Like, I think a lot of the problem with what happens with Tony and Manny is that, like, Manny is such an obvious, like, kind of like, I don't know, ladies' man. Like, the scene where he's sticking his tongue out, you know what I mean? Like, that, like, he's so obviously, like...
look like a fucking lizard, man.
He's, like, in it... He's trying to fuck, basically. And, like, Tony's like, listen, my sister, you're not... no. Like, not at all. Versus, like, Little Boy, it's not there. Like, Little Boy is such a stalwart. He is such a soldier.
Yes. Correct.
Little Boy is just, like, holding it down beginning to end. You know what I mean? Like, versus, like, Manny is a bit of a, like, personality, and he isn't fully...
But he's also holding it down.
Manny is holding it down, for sure. But it's very obvious how Manny feels about the ladies in the film.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
But a lot of that's bravado. Because, like, the other thing with Tony, you should know is that, like, yo, you're with me all the time. Like, come on, bro. Am I really living this crazy?
You're definitely right.
You know what I mean? Like, you see me every day, bro. Like, I talk crazy. I'm not, like, it's just so... That rage that Tony has in the original film is so, like, enhanced. Because there's no code.
Yeah.
He's
As far as you know.
Sure. But from the beginning of the movie, and they both are, but like...
No, he's a psychopath.
He's a psychopath. Okay, here's a big difference between Paul Mooney and Al Pacino in the films. Paul Mooney is already in his outfit. Paul Mooney is an established gangster.
That's
already.
correct.
And the first thing he does is kills his boss.
Yep.
And to help Lovo out in the film and everything. But, like, Paul Mooney's connection to the natural order, even though it's crime of things, is why he's such a sociopath. Because, like, he's already in the system, and he just does not accept it.
There is a level of what you're saying right now. I'm a very well-read man.
Sure.
I love history. I love books. I love literature. I don't know what... Like, there's, like, no difference between his squalor and his rich, other than, like, there's a bar. You know what I mean?
No, I'm right.
The level.
I can hear you. We're like telepathically speaking right now. 32. His
squalor and garbage.
It's the same.
It's the same thing.
Fucking energy.
It's the same energy.
The only thing that like is good for him is like when he's talking to Poppy and everything in the movie, which is like their equivalent to
Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer. Just say.
No.
Elvira.
No, I got to shout it because Poppy.
Vera.
Karen Morley played Poppy in 1932.
Been on a vacation?
I've been working up on the north side, Johnny?
That's what the papers say.
Don't work too hard.
And Michelle Pfeiffer played Elvira. They call her Vera a lot. So
You must be kidding.
What you talking about? That's a Cadillac.
they're very inconsistent with names in this film at times. But like Tony Camonte's like the only reason he wants shit is so that he could have
Shit.
Poppy.
Yeah. That's right.
Like he couldn't figure out like why like I'm way better than Lobo.
Yeah.
And he's with Poppy and I'm not. So like I don't have enough shit yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it.
He doesn't
even
like
want
his come up is like nothing.
No,
Like
it's a robe and a guy that answers
It's
phone.
like okay, it's a fucking nicer like windowsill. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But Tony, like his paranoia, which is the code, right? Like that's part of it. But like he was always gonna go there. That's just who he was as a person. But like Tony's Montana's paranoia and like what that does and like how ineffective it is. Like, okay, what's the point of you having all these cameras if you're just gonna go like off, you know, off script and go count money with the feds? You know what I mean? Like it's just, it's a hollow sentiment, and I think that like it's a really cool connection to the original film. It's like Paul Mooney having the steel doors and the steel like windows, like that's his equivalent of a security system.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of cool because like he loves. It's so hard to flesh out this character. Like he loves like tech and shit. Like he loves that he has a Tommy gun.
Oh
he loves that he.
Oh yeah.
His car is bulletproof. He loves like all the like.
He loves mayhem.
Yes,
That's
and like the ability to do it without consequences.
But it's like, if you really want him, if you really want to get crazy with it, like to figure out his character is the American government in warfare.
Okay,
like he just
like,
more money. Oh my God, we're doing
yeah.
Like after World War I, like all of a sudden I have money now. Oh, and then building this and building that and building. Oh, we got Tommy guns now. Let's go, my
it.
That's his thing.
Only thing, which goes back to I guess the human element of this character. I will argue that Tony Camonte still had his humanity, because that's why he reacts to Cheska dying like that.
Yeah,
like he's still he's whacked out, and actually he was like beyond his humanity, and then his sister. That's all good.
Yes,
his sister dying like brought him back into that weird place again. Tony Montana was gone because like his ability to kill his family, like Tony Camonte couldn't. He couldn't do that. Like
I agree.
He could kill Cheska's boyfriend and then feel like terrible about it. He's like, oh, I really fucked up this time. But like he was not capable of killing Cheska.
His humanity, like the last of his humanity. Oh, sorry guys. Is coming down the stairs at the end after the shootout.
Yeah.
And he has this, which I don't like, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't like his last plea to the to the police that he's like, I'm sorry, and then they're about to cover him.
Because that guy gets the win.
Exactly.
That cop from, yeah.
But and then he runs outside and it gets blown away.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think, one of the few things that I think that 83 does better.
Yeah, the fact that, like, in the shootout,
that he doesn't have, like, he doesn't compromise his humanity, like he's...
Yeah.
That's how he dies.
Like, 32, the plea...
The plea at the end, it's like...
It's so out of character. Yeah,
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, Tony Camonte is still clinging on to his last bit. Because, like, funny enough for him, his redemption... Because, like, he doesn't care. Like, society doesn't matter. None of this matters. Like, the only thing he cares about is his sister who, like... He may or may not have a weird relationship. There's like some...
Yeah, that's my big criticism, though. Like, like at the end of him, like, pleading with the cops.
Yeah.
I hate it. I really do.
There's no
hate
reason for him to plead
No,
the
because
cause.
he wouldn't.
No.
He genuinely wouldn't.
He would have.
Like, that's when the 83 Scarface got it right.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no, I'm going out.
Yeah.
Like, or if I go out, not even necessarily that I am going out.
Right.
That you motherfuckers are coming in here, this is a big, different story. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going, like, you got a problem.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, that film, even in his diminished state, because you see him there, he's got his little mound of coke, and he's out of it. Like, everything's gone to shit, but like in this moment, he's like, oh wait, they're coming for me?
Wait,
Okay.
I'm calling back.
Yep.
Gina, I'm coming back. And
Yeah.
he just has the machine gun and the rocket launcher. Say hello to my little friend. By the way, that's one of the few, like, catchphrases that came from movies that I don't know how people, like, perpetuate. Like, I've heard that my entire life.
Yeah, that's true.
That, and be like, say hello to my little friend.
Which,
and the way he says it in the movie is so shrunken down and barely audible. Like, say hello to my little friend.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's so big in everyone's mind.
And I guess,
You know?
I don't know, like, I've heard it so many, it's such a, excuse me, such a famous line.
Yeah. That's true. I mean,
that, no, it's not. Like, it's
yeah,
half a second of a line.
Yeah.
Say hello to my little friend.
it is
Not
what it
even a
is.
second. I don't know.
You know what it is, though? I can tell you what it is. It is the fact that the previous 20 or 30 minutes of the film gave them nothing. Gave them nothing.
I don't know.
They had the
The
feet.
chainsaw.
No. That's early in the movie. I'm saying, if you're at that point in the movie.
Lines, you mean?
No. This is what I mean.
Give
Sorry.
me
Let me be more specific. At that point in the film, if you're watching the movie Scarface and you're at say hello to my friend, my little friend, 20 to 30 minutes before that, it has been a while since you've been having a good time.
That's true.
Watching the movie.
Okay, with like the clock and everything.
The clock, like, he's doing the thing with he's in the car with the bomb. You know, like, he's going to the trial. Is he not going to trial? Like, we just came off of, like, a heater, right? Like, the movie's strummed along just real nice. You get the Rabanga scene early in the movie.
Rabanga!
Where'd you get the scar from? You know, like, you get all that shit.
You pussy?
You get the that beautiful scene where, like, you see the Miami backdrop, but it's just a billboard, and the reality of how shitty their existence is. The come up, the montage, and then we get a little bogged down in, like, political journalist. You know what I mean? It gets a little, like, clunky.
But the clunkiness is already there.
That's fair.
It kind of already is there.
That's fair. Like, the big shootout scene, though, is like the movie's like, okay, we're back in that, like, chainsaw area again. You know? Because the movie, like, it spikes with, like, Rabanga chainsaws, you know, all that shit, and then it, like, it comes back down a little bit, like, which it needs to, and then, like, it spikes again right there with that big shootout at the end. Like, because when the dudes start coming through, like, it's fucking Rambo.
Oh, it's
something,
wild.
man.
It is wild.
It
It is like, and for those of you who have never seen it, it is worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so good. Like, it's
that shit is amazing.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, that the ending to both actually are just like that of like him going out like no. Like, and not even a second guess, like, oh, I'm gonna kill all of you. Like,
Right.
oh, I'm not giving up.
Right, yeah. No.
I'm gonna kill all of you. Like, and then thinking, I'm gonna.
I did get a new appreciation for the later scenes in the Scarface remake today. Like, when, like, everything's kind of going to shit in these conversations. Like, did she call?
Just go.
Yeah, like, his obsession with whether or not Vera is calling him back.
Even that, okay, I guess this is a perfect time to talk about Vera.
Yeah.
And then Poppy.
Poppy, yeah.
Dude, like, in the 1932 version, I get it.
Yeah.
I get why she's with him.
Right.
I have no idea in 1983.
Yeah, it's
Like, I don't know why Michelle Pfeiffer is with him.
it's a little clunky.
I don't, like, especially after Frank dies. Like, yeah, meal ticket, but what?
There's so much more.
Am I missing something? Like,
No, you're not, because there's actual like chemistry.
like she
in
hates
32.
him
Yeah, she hates him.
for the whole movie.
But then he tells you that she doesn't, even though you see her hating him. He's like,
But she never likes him.
no, she doesn't.
Never.
She doesn't.
There's never been a scene
In the transition from Frank Lopez to Tony, where he's basically like bloody as shit, like his arm shot, like he's like, oh, wake up, let's move. It's like, well, okay, like where did this?
which
come
is
from?
very similar to the.
I know, but like there are more scenes where they like actually like each other.
Yes,
In the original?
absolutely. That
You
she's
know?
like, oh, I can't because I'm with him.
Right.
Like,
Versus
you're-
like Michelle Pfeiffer's like, no.
fuck you. Like, she's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's pretty
You're
aggressive.
like, why would you perceive that this is a good thing?
It's the eyes, Chico. The eyes, they never lie.
Like, I don't. What
But
do we
you
do?
know what's the best part? The eyes didn't lie. She
They
hated
did.
him
She hated him
at the
from.
beginning. She hated him at the end.
Yeah, I'm like, there's not a scene when they're like, they're in love.
Yeah. And
Her womb is so polluted.
It,
Let me tell you guys at home. There is not a woman alive that wants to hear that, even when you're
yeah,
joking.
it's pretty bad.
Even don't tell them that. They don't want to hear that.
It's pretty bad.
It never goes well. Anyway,
The Tony Montana, shit, because we're talking about like Poppy and Michelle Pfeiffer and shit like that. Like Michelle Pfeiffer is
Poppy, I thought had it going on, man. I thought the chemistry between them was like, yeah, it's believable. Like I
Okay.
believe that.
here's the best Poppy scene. There's
The
so many good
dancing,
ones.
dancing.
The dancing was good, but like no, when Tony decides that he gets a Tommy gun, right? He got shot at, and he's like, yo, we just got hit him back, and like Lobo's like, no, we gotta lay low. He's like, no, there's no lay low.
And she's walking in with
Yeah.
the gun with him.
And she throws him the gun.
Yes.
It's like, yo,
100%.
in case that pea shooter stops
Don't
working.
that means they take that.
That like Poppy is down. She's
down,
down, dog.
That dude.
Michelle Pfeiffer is indifferent, yo. She's a
Can we talk
she's a
about
hired gun. That's what we
Frank
should-
and then that guy?
Okay. Yes, because that is so
The
important.
subtleness of that
Oh,
scene
man.
in 32.
Okay, so here we go. In 32, Osgood Perkins plays Johnny Lobo.
I've been working up on the north side, eh, Johnny?
That's what the papers say.
Johnny and Frankie. Johnny
right.
and Frank.
And
Robert
Loggia plays Frank Lopez, the little Lopez.
I am the boss.
That guy's soft.
The little
That son of a
peasants.
bitch
And by the
had
way,
a base hit.
By the way, guys, if you're wondering, has my fantasy football team been named the Little Lopezers for a long time? Yes, it has. The Little Lopezers. Actually, it's recently been Chico's bail bonds, but go ahead.
Okay, you know what's awesome about the films? I will argue that there's one spot where like 83 had to like actually edit something compared to 32. And it is when Tony's telling Lobo, only thing that fucking talks is this shit.
Yes.
And it's the gun. He's like, listen, bitch. This is the only thing that matters in Scarface the 83, it's balls. Balls is what but dude, his takeover of the mob is so much more direct and like Tony
Ruthless.
Tony Montana's kind of skating around it a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm not taking over the business. I'm just doing this. Like Tony Camonte is like,
I'm here.
What?
Yeah.
What? Why are you talking to me? It's like he's like, oh, you can't do this. It's like, first of all, how do you think you got the south side? The same way I'm about to take the north side, dude. And it's like, yeah, bro. Like,
yes,
he's the engine that makes this shit work.
Yes,
I will say Tony Montana is very good. He's like a very elite drug dealer, and obviously took over Frank Lopez's business and was an engine in some ways. But Tony Camonte is like, I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, he was so much better.
Listen.
Yeah.
In seamlessly. Didn't make. I mean, sure he made mistakes, but really with his own family though. That's what put him in.
There was more of like with Tony Montana, fuck the Diaz brothers.
Yeah.
Can we see that?
Yes.
See what happened there?
Yeah. Well, no, you need to know that he's getting 10% interest at the bank. That's more important than seeing the Diaz brothers. That's another problem with 83. The logistics. I don't need you explaining to me that your banker is squeezing you on the back end. I'm very disinterested. And then what are you going to start Montana Securities? I don't really care. Although I will give 83 this. Obviously, one of the greatest movie montages in the history of cinema. That pushes to the limit, the little money machine going into the beat.
So they're talking on the phone.
Georgie Mordor's fucking, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Little disco soundtrack. That soundtrack is something, man.
Yeah, it really is.
It is something, dude. Which is such a weird juxtaposition to the 32 film. There's almost no music in that.
No, none whatsoever. It's after Johnny gets the call and then he gets killed.
Yeah.
Barely off street, you hear him get killed.
Yes.
Which is also awesome while he's walking out. While Tony's walking out.
Yeah.
And I think you hear you hear the kind of the same theme for for Scarface.
I know what you mean.
But really, that's it. Really.
So in 32, you have whatever they play.
And then whatever he's whistling.
Yeah. The whistling thing is from some opera. You guys can look this up, but I think that's supposed to be a bit of an allusion to the relationship with his sister. And so with that, he gets he's so upset about a marriage and whatever. Who knows? But the biggest difference between the films, besides the acting, the period, and everything like that, is that music element. Because I think what makes 83 part of a cult classic is that soundtrack, which is why Grand Theft Auto Vice City was so hot, because it really leaned into that amazing soundtrack that gave you that Miami backdrop for this.
For sure.
Pretty slick movie.
I don't know, man. I think it was so good though. When I saw that, when I saw the
just the movie itself.
Yeah, without the music.
I know.
The deaths and stuff. And the violence. There's something to the violence of because we're talking about 3 years after talkies started.
Sure.
I think it started in 1929 or 1930.
That's fair.
So it's 2 years. And there are very few movies about, and they're just coming by with machine guns fucking, they're going for it.
It's a great movie. I mean,
you don't need music.
No.
It's machine guns.
And part of it was, constraints at the time, but also it's the realism of the film. The film.
It's so real.
Feels
other than sets.
I mean,
listen, some of the acting is dated.
Sure.
Because you're doing this before Brando, but.
Well, yeah, we were talking about the one guy who there's like a recurring character in the film that like keeps answering the phone, and he doesn't take the messages down, and like that shit's a little like wonky and like clunky, but
It is and it's not.
But Paul Mooney is actually like,
Excellent.
He holds up so well. Like,
I mean,
Paul Mooney is an Oscar, very early Academy Award winning actor. You know, in like the early days. He's good. You know, I liked it.
There is, like, and I'll say the same thing about Al Pacino.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that Al Pacino's bad.
He's
The only thing that I despise, like, when you read about this movie, like, that someone, like an assistant director, he insisted that they only spoke Spanish to him. It's like, why, man?
Yeah.
Why, Al?
Yeah.
You didn't speak Spanish for this entire
Not
movie.
even like once.
Like, not even once. So stop. Okay.
This was
okay, so that's Spanish now? That's Spanish now.
Yeah. I will say though, a lot of people ate for this movie for a long time. Chi-Chi, you know, Salazar, like there's so many people like, I was in Scarface, so give me $20,000.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, even what's his name? Manolo.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
he,
You know,
like, up until, he was in Breaking Bad and shit, like, he was...
100%. Manolo, I like that he gets to do a little bit more in the movie. Like, I think that we get a better connection in 83 that Manolo is, like, Tony's right-hand man. Like, he's more involved in, like, he's more
My only problem with that
explicitly
is-
involved in the business.
My only problem with that is,
Yeah.
like, that he's clearly, like, 23 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and Al Pacino was clearly 40.
That's fair.
So, it's like, what are you doing with this kid?
That's fair.
Like, and that's never presented. It's like, no, we grew up together. You did not.
Yeah.
Like, that guy is 10 years older than you.
Salvatorean, yeah.
Sanitario. I told you to tell him you had TB.
No, it's cool.
But there's a lot. I mean, that's it though. Like, dude, I really do think Al Pacino does a good job of, like, playing the ignorant, like, coming to money type of guy. I think.
Oh,
he does a
yeah, no, I
great
think he
job
nailed that.
doing that.
I think,
I think Michelle Pfeiffer, like, hating him and, like, playing that type of girl, other than, like, her later in the movie, like, still hating him,
Yeah.
being that type of girl. It's like, what are you doing here still? Like,
yeah.
on, like, a safety level. Like,
Yeah.
why would you...
Which I guess we could give her that she left, but like, it's at that point, it's not really character building. I feel like it's more of a narrative device. Just
I
like,
guess.
you know,
I don't know.
like the whole.
But I think she's great. I think
Say
she's-
hello to the bad guy. You know,
Say hello to the bad guy. Yeah.
that scene. I don't know.
Why? There is...
You know what it is?
I'll tell you. Okay, go ahead.
His coke downfall. It's too on the nose. It's too on the fucking nose, man.
We know.
You know?
But I'll give you...
But
I'll take it one further.
Sure.
I'll take it one further. The original 32.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a hero.
No, he never
He
is.
never is.
Never is.
But in the 83, it's like his downfall is doing something noble of not killing children. Listen,
Yeah.
call it not noble, like,
I know what you
whatever.
mean.
But it's like, there, he's going to draw the line, there, and that's his downfall.
Yeah, had he have killed the women
Children, like, he doesn't give a fuck, like, which that guy would not give a fuck.
And, like, the movie kind of presented like, yeah, so you should like,
See? That's the downfall.
Yeah.
Like, don't kill women or children.
yeah.
What? No, man.
No, yeah.
No.
Superman.
And we also want to say at this point that this is the original Scarface is the reason why we have ratings on movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because the movie was so glorified by people that they thought that it was presenting that gangsterism as a good thing.
It kind of was, though.
And They did the same thing in the 80s, and then crack happened, and here we are.
Yeah. 83, like, people love that movie, man. They love the aesthetic.
They did.
I love the aesthetic, you know, like, I think Grand Theft Auto Vice City is dope, and I love that it's just Scarface in a video game, you know?
With Henry Hill doing the voice.
Yeah. R.I.P. Ray Liotta, you know?
Right. R.I.P. But, I mean, I don't know. So do you think, all in all, that Scarface should have been remade?
Actually, yes. So here's what I think, definitively. I think that actually 1932, pound for pound, is the better movie. I think it's a better movie. I think that Paul Mooney's portrayal is fantastic. I know that most of it's dated, but like, it's such a more succinct film. And all the things that are good about 1932 are what's really good about 83. Like, all of the parts that work already worked, you know? Like, I just think that, like, 32, even when it's dated, is so compelling because I feel like that story is so good. Like, the guy who kind of gets there, but then his fucked up, like, mentality, like, he can't let his boy and his sister be a thing, and he loses sight of the ball and just, like, he fucking blows it. Like, I just think that it's so compelling, and 83 nails it. Like, I think it fucking catches that same energy, but there's a little bit of filler in the movie that if you took that out,
that movie is long. It's like 2 hours. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
It's so good, but there's enough that's not, you know.
Yeah.
That I have to like bring it up, and like I don't have to do that.
The Pelicans.
Yeah, Pelicans fly. 32 is just, again, it's dated, so I don't want to overstate it, but like
it's really dated.
It is really dated, but it's also a really good movie, man.
It is really good, and I'll compound on you that yes, absolutely, like it should have been remade, and like some of the stuff they redid was great.
Yes,
and some of the stuff they did that is like stupid.
The distinction that I want to make, why I think the remake is so important, is the music, right? Like, I think that taking that story and then adding a musical element that, like, just hits. It transcends, like, hip-hop literally was, like...
Yep.
Scarface was a driving force for a lot of hip-hop.
Yes, it was.
And, like, it's the story with the aesthetic.
Yep.
This is why 83 needs to exist.
Yep.
You know?
Agreed.
The story is amazing in 32. The aesthetic, wiggity fucking whack for a modern audience. Now in 32, you would have been like, this is crazy. This is shit happening down the block.
Yeah.
But like for us, we're like, okay, man, let's see.
Oh.
You know, like, again, there's like a comedic element. There's funny parts in 83, like, Ernie, you got the job. Like, but the part where the guy's like constantly answering the phone and doesn't know who it is, and like
but that
shit,
that alone
it does pay off though.
Like the way they did that in 33, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah,
like I really thought like the tension without music and all that stuff. And of him answering the phone, be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, hang up the phone. And
even though it's dated, it's a realer movie, which is what they were going for without the music.
Correct.
Right? They were like, we don't want to put music in here because we want this experiences. And like, if like, even being a modern audience member, there were times where I'm just watching movies like, I feel like I'm in this like enterprise, in that like this guy, like especially early when he's not quite there, and they're in the meeting, and the dude starts talking, he's like, yo, hey, president's talking. You know what I mean? Like Like he's so good in those moments when he's making the climb.
Yes. It's, dude, there's a reason why that's a definitive, and you guys should know at home, like, it's a definitive movie. It's actually the reason why you have ratings on movies, because of this movie. There were 2 gangster movies as talkies.
Mm.
The one was The Public Enemy and one was Little Caesar. Little Caesar first. And then this movie came out and there's no, like, there's a comeuppance, but he's not a moral character at all. Right. And then they had a whole thing of an alternate ending to this movie.
Right.
Of 1932, that there has to be, that he's hanged by the FBI.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like,
you know what it is? Like, why they had to do that, though?
Yeah, because people were like, hey, this is a blueprint.
Because
the same reason why, like, in Harlem in fucking 1980,
right,
83, that's the blueprint.
This shit, so in 83, right? So yeah, they're both blueprints, for sure. Like, 32 was like, so dope, they're like, don't do this. Like, the beginning of the movie, they're like, please.
Yeah, please don't do this.
Please don't think this is cool. And it was like, this is so cool.
This is so cool.
I fucking love it.
Best way to think something's not cool, tell people it's not cool.
Oh yeah, always works. Like, if you tell people something's not cool, they're gonna be like,
don't smoke here. We want to smoke here.
Mm-hmm. The 83 film is so close to being like one of those shitty like YouTube videos you watch now. It's like rise and grind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he is basically a hyper capitalist. Like
Yeah.
Tony Montana is
absolutely
is
not even
bought
no
into
debate. No debate.
The system.
He is 100%.
And he's mad that he's not allowed to be part of the system.
Yep. 100%.
He's like, dude, why won't... Okay, I can't be part of the system. I just have to do it this way. I have to do it this way.
Why do you think that he doesn't call the cops?
Yes. In the say hello to the bad guy thing. It's like, he's in a room... When I watch it today, I'm like, this dude's in a room with, like, I don't know, like the CEO of fucking Pfizer and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Not
Like,
even at the time, though.
You know? But, like, he's like, part of...
And he's worth more.
Yes. Yes. He is. And it's like, you're looking at me like I'm the bad guy, but I'm the one keeping all this shit running. You know?
And he is the bad guy.
And
but, is he?
I don't know.
That's my fault.
That's a question in both films, right? So, like...
In the first one, yes, he is. I will say he is.
You know, he's the bad guy, but also, like, people want their fucking booze. People want their fucking booze, man. What are we doing?
They do.
What are we doing? Like, why we put these guardrails up like we weren't going to drink this shit anyway? Yeah. Now, he is the bad guy, but like, he also was supplying people a thing that they want.
But, let me say, like, in the first one, he doesn't have really any redeemable qualities. Like, he is done.
No, he's bad.
Which I think is actually much more interesting.
I agree.
For the movie. Like, he's...
To the point that that is actually ethically neutral.
No.
Well, like, he's so not checked in. You know, like he's just doing shit. And no, you're right. It's bad. But, like, he has no consideration of what he's doing.
I guess. No.
Until his sister.
No, yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't care. Like, neither of them really care. Cause like,
no, neither do. But, I mean, he cares about his mom.
Yeah.
And he's definitely hurt when she wants nothing to do with him. And then his sister, when she comes out as like a parting gift, it's like, hey, call me up or whatever. He's happy and whatever. And like, he's happy.
I feel like his sister's dance in the first film.
She was good.
It's great.
That's all I can say.
It's fucking great. It's
But
real good shit.
I don't know. There's.
I love them. I love both of these movies. I think they're so great. Like
I loved Scarface '83 when I was
yeah, like a teenager.
17
Yeah.
to like 30.
A child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't love it anymore. I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I look at it like, ugh.
Okay, so when I say I love Scarface, what I mean is
I love it too.
I love the aesthetic of Scarface. I love the music. I love the it seems like that's why I bought the shirt. Like I like that with the
Oh, you're wearing a different shirt.
yeah, it's like a whole thing. It is also, and I agree, a bad movie.
Yeah. It's the best bad movie that's ever been made.
It's a really good bad movie.
It's the best
It's
bad
a
movie.
bad movie.
I will say that. It's the best bad movie. Like, when you talk about Roadhouse and like Under Siege
Yeah.
or like those
Yeah.
movies, like, this is the best of them.
Because for a while it's a good movie, and then it's not.
But is it? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of it.
The aesthetic.
That's
yeah, it's so tough, man. Because like
until
my mind is polluted, by the way. Because like
polluted,
like a womb. Like Grand Theft Auto Vice City is part of my calculation.
Of course, but you can't.
I know the soundtracks, the Def Jam, all the hip hop is part of my calculation. I'm not allowed to just think about Scarface just as a movie.
No.
I think about it as like the cultural impact.
And
for that I have to say it was a good movie.
Okay.
But when I watch it and I discuss it, because we've talked about this before, we've had a podcast where we literally watched the movie and started basically booing at one point. It is often a bad film.
It is. Yeah.
Often. If not always. But like I'll just say sometimes it's
But it should be remade. Like, and the way they did it.
It was so necessary.
It was necessary. Like,
because I think the fact that I can respect the 32 timeline
there are
is
certain
because I
things.
respect what they did with 83.
There's certain things like you read about it though that you're like, shut the fuck up. Like the fact that like Al Pacino had like some like assistant director only speak Spanish to him.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? He doesn't speak Spanish throughout the whole fucking movie.
At all.
Even though he's Cuban.
His
like, oh no, I wanted to get into the character.
His accent's closer to Comante than it is to like a Cuban person.
Yeah.
Like he's doing Scarface a lot of times in the movie. It's interesting, man. Like I don't know.
And that ending, man, I really can't fault it. Like that ending is epic.
83?
Yes.
It's
epic.
ever been filmed.
It really takes like the ending to 32.
Mm-hmm.
It really ups it.
Yeah.
It really does. Like it takes it to another level that I can't even imagine. Like I would never even thought to do that. Like, wow.
32 is it's cool. Yeah, not even close. It's cool. Like I like that the steel windows come back into play. But like no, like when you shoot that scene and how it goes down, because like he's still.
I just also like the effect that 32 has on the movie industry in general. Number one, of the rating system.
The pre-code era.
That they had to be approved by a government. Like, not that I like that, but like it's important,
right?
Because this movie was so depraved that they just because this guy Tony does not empathize with people.
Sure.
Like, he's not like redeemable. And then also like that this movie, aside from that, I mean, what the fuck was I put for food? I can't remember. I blanked.
You get it back.
I will. But after you're gone and this camera's off.
Oh boy.
Ah!
Man.
Ah! Anyway.
Well,
But,
yeah.
anyway, go ahead.
No, I'll say this, that Scarface works in both settings because it is a truly American tale.
Absolutely.
It is the most American thing ever, which is why, like, the beginning of the 32 film, when it's trying to tell you, hey, kids, this isn't cool, you're like, oh, shut the fuck up. This is as cool as it can be. Because we do all agree, even though we're not allowed to, that, like, sometimes just taking this shit in your own hands is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, man. That's why people freaked out. We talked about the last podcast about the Mangione kid. People, Batman and shit like that. People love vigilantism in this country, and I don't know when that's going to change, you know?
I don't see it actually ever changing. That's one of the fundamentals of America, right?
We inherently think the system is bullshit.
Well, dude, you gotta think. This is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that by definition, America, we're an offshoot of Britain.
Okay, yeah.
If you are British, if you're not part of the royal family,
right? Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But here, like in America, you call someone a cowboy. That's a compliment.
Sure.
Like, I was like, look at you, you fucking cowboy.
Right,
Like,
right.
I think you did.
Yeah.
But if I was in Germany and called you a cowboy, that's an insult.
Right.
There's a level of rebellion in America that I think has come through to the Civil War and then comes through to the gangster film.
Sure.
That we recognize heroes that we shouldn't because they're rebels against the system that we think is fucked up.
But we do that because they told us to rebel. The Central American story is a revolution.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
You know?
That's exactly what I mean.
We're pushing back.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the whole thing. You told us to push back. So don't get mad when we push back.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
You know? That, yeah. No,
That's
you're right.
exactly what I'm saying.
You're 100% right. If that's exactly what you're saying, I exactly am saying the same
Yeah, we're
thing.
pushing back.
Fuck.
And so then, like, you've got these...
Fuck you, man.
You get these Dillingers, these Capones,
Yes.
these that you...
In like, we're constantly saying...
No, don't represent
do,
them.
right.
Don't do that.
But then we always ride through nuts, dog. Like...
Because once you say, like, they went out of they went out of the obvious circle and they made how much money?
We don't respect
But at
failure.
the same time, like, dude, fucking, we do the same thing now. What, like, Zuckerberg,
I know.
like, he
Elon.
didn't graduate.
Yeah. We don't respect failure. We don't. Which is why Scarface works, because, like, these guys who made it, but they were like, all right, this is enough. And then this Maverick came out of nowhere and was like, fuck that, we're doing more. It's absurd. It
You want to know
destroyed him.
something? You want to know something? This is dead ass.
Okay.
Dead ass. I think we're living in a world of nerds now that have not been bullied. And this shit is fucked up. And I think we need to fucking bully these nerds.
Now, I think that
I'm obviously not going to kill anybody. I don't have...
I think that to the point that you're saying here is that there's not enough like pushback for like bullshit. Like I feel like when we grew up, yeah, you got bullied or something like that. Like there, you got checked, you know, often, and it's just it's not that era. Like we're very more understandable of each other. Which there's pros to that. Like there's a lot of good things about like being more empathetic and understanding, but like there is a gap that can occur where it's like, yo, sometimes you just gotta get smacked. It's like you're being a dumbass.
Yes.
Because like I've been a dumbass, and I'm like, oh, I'm not being a dumbass. It's like, no, you're being a dumbass, and like someone had to like kick me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes. And then Tony Montana will smack you if
Yeah.
I don't.
Man, you can always go back into the Tony Montana conversation. That like that is again going back to like capitalism and the American dream. It's like, listen,
Absolutely.
the person that understands what's going on, that's efficient, is going to rise to the top. It's the cream rising to the top. That's what these stories are about.
Always.
But in this case, the cream's rotten, Dan, because they're criminals. But like the reality
Is it though?
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
You know, going back to say hello to the bad guys. Like, am I the criminal? Like, arguably the most respectable person in the movie is probably the guy that works at the bank, and he's a fucking crook.
I know.
You know, the Fed
See,
was crooked.
This is the whole thing.
The other Fed was crooked.
This is the whole thing too. Like that's the other thing. Like if you weren't,
right,
fuck you. Like you pussy at the time.
Yes.
Like I don't know, man. Like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
If you didn't do it, going back to the peasant mentality, you're a peasant.
Okay, let's say let me say this.
Sure.
As my grandparent.
Okay.
Not yours.
Sure.
For the time.
Okay.
And you should know. Saying no to someone like a Scarface Al Capone.
Sure.
Do you think you're living through like the next week and a half?
You're cooked.
You're dead.
100% done. Yeah.
If not, like your life is much worse.
Yeah. It is so flawed, right? Because there is we've come to the conclusion, obviously, that these two characters are bad people.
Yes.
There's no question about that. But in the times that they're in, especially the 32 film, there's like an order to what they do. Like it's chaotic and it's murderous. But it's not too far from the system that's already in place. You know?
Okay.
It's like as much as we can talk about like that shit, like if you're running a government, like you're somebody's getting hurt. You know?
Okay.
And these guys are operating in that like that operating system where like I'm not allowed to do this legitimately like the government. So this is my take on this. They make this like shadow adjacent things in the system that like is what they can control for their own well-being, you know, and they'll pretend like they're sort of like Robin Hoods for the people, whereas like, all right, this is how I get ahead.
Yeah,
you know, like I don't know. It's the most American story ever, which is why I think it works.
It's
that
the
you can
most
translate it. Yes, which is why you can translate it in 32. Why you can translate it in 83 is that like we all understand the rags to riches, morally ref guy. You know what I mean? Like that's,
yeah, but there's a level that's different though.
There's
the moral of alcohol is very little. Like even now, like I don't know how many people like look down on alcohol now. It's not that many.
No.
Like as far as I don't know. As far as
well, this period was part of that.
What?
This period was part of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Like when people being like, "What are we doing?" Because like I feel like for me, which maybe was Jesus. This kid's amazing. What's interesting about like this film for me is that the stakes, like I don't think either of us think that it's worth having a drug war for alcohol.
Correct. But they did, you know,
Right.
at the same time. Like,
Right.
they actually did.
And like, the takeaway I got from that isn't necessarily like, oh, Al Capone's like the worst guy ever. It's like, we probably shouldn't have drug wars about alcohol. There's another way to approach. Like, Al Capone shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
That was a failure of government.
But, I mean, they did the same thing with drug wars.
Sure.
Just not that we know of.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. You
Not
know,
as
like Freeway
public as-
Ricky or some shit
Yeah.
like that, you know? But like, the same thing though, they're like,
Like Oliver Stone didn't, he wrote about things he read.
Yes.
Like,
That's fair. But like booze, drugs, all that shit, like, I'm not saying they're great, but like, it's
you're
not? No, I'm weirdly me, I'm not. Those things do not need to rise to the level of like violence, generally.
yes.
Like, if someone wants to get fucked up, even when maybe they shouldn't, like, I think we all agree we don't need to have like a turf war about it.
I disagree.
You know? And fair enough. Turf wars are a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are.
You know?
Especially
You're
those
a jet.
astroturfs, you go up to space.
Nah. So wait a minute. Let's pull this full circle. So the remake should exist.
Yeah.
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 I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think, if only for the ending.
For the
The ending is phenomenal, man.
For me-
it's really a stellar form of
Yeah.
filmmaking. It really is.
For me, the
Like, you know where everyone is coming into the mansion. You know where he is.
100%. Yeah, when they first come to the mansion and you watch that, if you've seen them before, you're like, oh. Sort of tight
It's
up,
a good,
here it is.
like, it's a piece of acting, too. Like, you
Mhm.
know how coked up he is. If it wasn't for that ending, though,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know I don't know.
No, the ending brings it back. Because, like, the early stuff is really good. Like, it's really good and interesting and it's fun. I think there is a lagging period in there, but, like, cohesively, altogether, it's a phenomenal product. Like, I am not upset about Scarface. I think it's cool.
No, I am not. I just think, like, the exploitation of Jimmy Carter, like,
Yeah, the
I
Jimmy Carter
think-
stuff.
I don't know. That kind of annoys me. As, like, we're filming this just after he died, and I think Jimmy Carter gets kind of a bad rap. But, anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. But that's the mural horror. I mean, that actually existed. So, anyway. So,
No, I mean, also short, 83 is really good. I think music really pulls it together. 32 is just one of those things that if you haven't experienced it, go check it out. It's a really good movie.
it's really a very important movie.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
Yeah.
it's, like,
Even
like, he doesn't have anything redeeming about him until, like, they're about to put the cuffs on him and he runs out.
Yeah.
Like, which I reject.
He gets so much out of the character, though. you
Yeah,
know?
he
Like,
does.
Especially for the time. Like, just...
Yeah.
It's actually pretty nuanced, really. Like, it's a good portrayal
Yeah.
of this gangster, and like also his was kind of small about him, you know, that like he's a child, you
Yeah.
know?
Little boy.
He's a little boy that just, you know, this is it. Like he doesn't want to be crushed by the weight of society, so he'll hit first,
Yeah.
really, you know, like that's kind
I
of who
agree.
Tony Comante is.
I agree.
You know? Because he knows if he doesn't, someone's going to fucking smack him.
That's correct.
You know?
100%.
And that's the lesson that he learned. And Scarface, you know, the Al Pacino one, same thing. They learned a lesson like, hey, listen, man. The only thing that gives orders is balls, violence, whatever that is.
And my word.
Yeah, man. And I think they're really good movies.
Yeah. I don't think the 83 version is that good of a movie. Like, growing up, I don't.
It is.
I really do. I think the ending is amazing.
Yes.
I think. I really don't think it's that good of a movie, though. But should it exist? Yes.
It should exist. Yeah. Aesthetically, I think it's probably more of a better aesthetic than
I don't think it. Like, if I were to give it like out of 4 stars, it's a 2.
Yeah, because you're right. There, like even rewatching this, I felt like there's part of this I really do not want to watch.
Yeah.
You know,
There's parts. Yeah.
like
that whole UN
after
thing.
the montage, I'm just like I'm pretty much checked out to the end.
Yeah.
And that's about an hour movie.
Yeah, and that's with weed.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I got for our next endeavor. I have an idea that you brought up to me.
Okay.
That I've been thinking about.
Me.
You did. Rear Window and Disturbia. Do you want to do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right, buddy. All right,
Those
guys. So that's us for this week or month or
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
But whatever. Thank you for joining us for Scarface.
I'll get this out.
And our 100%.
I'll get this out pretty quick.
100th episode.
Woo!
Thank you for joining us. We generally appreciate your patronage. Thank you for being a part of us. Like, subscribe.
That's it.
Yeah, like,
That's it.
subscribe.
This was Retroverse Remake. This was
Retroverse Remake, everything you need to know.
This was the 100th episode.
Follow me, Dan Farley 18 on Instagram. Dan Farley, Jersey Dan 18 on X.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm at RP Comedy on X.
RP
all
Comedy
that
on
stuff.
everything.
TikTok's done, bro. That's it.
TikTok is done.
But we're
We
not.
got Scarface.
Next episode, Rear Window Disturbia. Be there.
That's it, baby. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.